Hello everyone, this is Ricardo Lund, head engineer of Rakoon Sound Studios, and I want to welcome you guys to another episode of our Tips and Tricks show, where we share information about our equipment and how we make music. This time it's going to be a little different. We're going to be talking about DJing this time, and I'm going to be reviewing Pioneer DJ equipment and show you a little bit of how the equipment runs, a little bit of an overview over the equipment, and a little bit of some extra tips and some tricks that you can use in your sets to enhance them and make them cooler. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So here we have a setup of Pioneer DJ equipment, and basically I'm gonna do a quick run through the functionality of the gear, and also show you a few little cool tips that you can do, tips and tricks, you know, that you can use in the club and in your mixes, and help you get a better understanding of the Pioneer gear. Here we have actually an XDJ 1000, another XDJ 1000, and a Pioneer DJ M750 Mark II, which is pretty close to what you're gonna get in most clubs. Most clubs are gonna have the CDJ 2000 Nexus 2 or Mark II, and DJ M900 Mark II, which is gonna be a pretty similar mixer to this. So most of the functionality that I'm gonna be showing here is gonna apply to the equipment that you're gonna be finding in the club. So right here we have these two players connected to channels 2 and 3 of the mixer. And I'm gonna start playing a song here on channel 3. So as you can see, the track is playing right now, and I'm gonna first give you a quick overview of the CDJs. First of all, you have obviously the cue and play button that most of you people know. The cue is to set up the starting point of your track. Then you have the search function here, which is to search through the track like that, you know. But now you can also search by, if you're on vinyl mode, you can also search by doing this. It's a touch screen, and this is the vinyl mode or CDJ mode. So the difference between both is that basically on CDJ mode you can touch the jog wheel from the top and it won't stop the track and you won't be able to scratch. Vinyl mode kind of like emulates vinyl, so you'll be able to scratch, and also, you know, if you stop it, you put your hand on top of it, it will stop. So vinyl and CDJ mode. It's also worth mentioning that to find a cue point on CDJ mode, if you press pause, it starts like stuttering like that, so you can kind of like move it and kind of find the spot where you want to set your cue point. So let's say I wanted to put the cue point here or something, I can put it there, now it starts there. So on vinyl mode, you kind of like look for it like that. So I wanted to put it there, hold it, and press Q. So you have that, you have the pitch adjustment, then you have the looping function, which it works pretty, it's pretty straightforward. Basically, you set a cue point, a looping point, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it starts looping. And you can see that this loop is perfect. Actually, I created a perfect loop because it's set on quantize mode, and as you can see, if I take it off from quantize mode, I'm not gonna be able to do perfect loops as easy. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, it's not perfect, you know. So I'm gonna go into some of the functions that you can do without the quantize mode, why it's still worth using without quantize mode. And to be able to have it in quantize mode, you have to have your tracks analyzed in Pioneer software, which is called Rekordbox. And pretty much Rekordbox, for those who don't know, it's a software that contains your music library, and it analyzes your tracks for you, your BPMs, your waveforms, and also puts them on a grid, so that you can then later on the CDJ bring your USB and be able to use the quantize function and get an exact BPM reading of your track, and so on, and a few other functions. So it's you know, you can bring a USB with a folder full of tracks without having analyzed them in Rekordbox, and it will play. But it's very important to put them on Rekordbox, because then you're going to be getting all the information of your track correctly, you know, analyzed, and you're going to be having the waveforms displayed right away. You're going to get a correct BPM reading. You're going to be able to use the quantize function, and you're also in Rekordbox, you can also create your hot cues, which I'm going to go into right now, which are different cue points that you can use for the track, so that you can skip the track to different sections, or move between the track within those hot cues that you're gonna have. So you can also create those hot cues on the fly when you're playing, or or in the CDJ. But a lot of people like to prepare their hot cues before their gigs. So in the XDJ, to access the hot cue points, in the CDJ 2000s, you're gonna have the hot cue points on the side of the CDJ, but on the XDJ you have to go on this perform page, and you can see that I have something that says hot cues right there, and I can press this record button right here, play the track. So basically, whenever I press one of the A, B, or C buttons, it's gonna create a hot cue. So I'm gonna create one now. So right now we already recorded that one. So you can see now that now it's green right there. So every time I press that, it's just gonna go to the hot cue. So you can create up to 3 in these. You can also beat jump by 1 bar, by 2 bars, by 4 bars, so to skip along the track if you don't want to play the whole track. And the hot cues are good, you know. Say we don't want to play the break, and we want to just like skip the break of this track, so I'm going to fast forward in this, and I can actually fast forward also faster by pressing the search button here together with the jog wheel, and I can get there faster. So let's say we want to set a hot cue point there. So I would press record and press B, get out of there, and now we have it like right like on the drop. So say we're playing here and we want to go from this break straight to the outro of the track. That way we skip the whole breakdown of the track. So that's why the hot cue points are useful. Anyway, the other thing that is worth mentioning is the auto cue function, which is very important. A lot of people don't know about it. Which is basically every time that you load up a track, it automatically creates a cue point by detecting the first beat of the track. So for example, I have it enabled right now, but on the CDJ 2000 you would have it around here, like a button that says auto cue, or like below the screen. But in here we have it right here. We can either change the time functionality, so either see how long we have left of the track or how long we have played from the track. So right now we have it on how long we have left from the track, but if we hold that, we disable the auto cue. And if I press that and hold, I enable it, and there's a little red indicator that says auto cue on the screen, which lets me know that the auto cue is enabled. So if I go to the beginning of the track, it will automatically create a cue point for me at the first beat. So really important to know. A lot of people have that function disabled, and if I disable that and I create another cue point, or even if I go to another track, it starts playing the track right away, and if I press Q, it will go to the last track where it had a cue point. So it might get confusing to a lot of people for that reason. So I always have the auto cue function enabled, so that when I skip to another track, for example the next track, it already created a cue point automatically on the first beat that it detected. So that goes for the CDJ. Then it's pretty straightforward, the browsing. You kind of go back here and you either select if you want the USB or the link, which is going to be the USB from the other CDJ, so as a source, and then you can browse through like by playlist, key, track, album, artist, and that's also something that you can get to decide in the Rekordbox software. So that's why the Rekordbox software is very important, because you can actually create your own filters for browsing through your music. Finally, I think something worth mentioning is the tag list, which lets you on the fly kind of say I go to this playlist and I want to play this track, and I can add them to like a playlist for the moment, which is gonna be the tag list. So I'm gonna, with this button, with the tag track, I can select a few. So say those 4, and now if I go on the tag list on this USB, I have those selected, and I can kind of plan out my set as I go playing. Then finally, there's this vinyl speed adjust, which if you have it on vinyl mode and you have it all the way to the right, it's gonna start the track slow. Like if I stop it, it's gonna kind of like do that thing, and if I start play again, it's gonna take a long time to start the track. So worth knowing, you know. If I have it all the way to the left, it's immediate. And then finally, I think worth mentioning here is the tempo. You have the pitch control here, and you have basically 4 settings for the pitch control. You have plus and minus 10, plus and minus 16. You have this wide, and plus and minus 6, which is basically going to dictate the range in which this is going to move. So in here you see that the track is naturally at 127 BPM. If I have it on the plus and minus 6 percent, I can go down to minus 119 and up to 134. The range is going to increase as I change it to plus 10. So I can go to minus 114 and to 139 BPM at the top of the pitch, and so on. You know, if I move to the plus and minus 16, the range is gonna increase, and finally the wide is just gonna take it down to 0. So you have a 100% control of the range of the pitch. So you can get really fast or super slow until the point that it stops. And that is kind of cool to use it for some tricks that I'm gonna show you in a little bit. But for now, you know, that is basically how the CDJ works, or the XDJ in this case. Now I'm gonna go into the mixer. So this is a 4-channel mixer with effects built into it. and it's a pretty good mixer, you know, like Pioneer has created like great sound quality for this. They keep improving the sound quality as they keep updating their models. So this is the whole effects section, as well as these color effects called the sound color effects, where you have a filter, which you're gonna use a lot probably. You have a noise generator, so you have this dub echo, which I'm gonna demonstrate everything with the track. So if I play the track, first of all, I'm gonna demonstrate the sound color effects. You have the filter, right, which is acting as a high pass right now, and if I go to the other side, it acts as a low pass. Then you have the noise generator, which just adds some noise to the... and this is this parameter here. It just basically dictates the intensity of the effect, which is pretty useful, especially for the filter. If you want really smooth filtering, you can take it all the way down, but if you want to filter with some resonance, you can hear the resonance coming in, kind of hearing the filter a little more. And then for the noise, as I said, it's just a noise generator, kind of to generate some build-ups, I guess. And it's cool that I can apply that noise generator to any of the channels. So I can have channel 1 that I have nothing connected, and I can still add some noise. Make it a little more intense. Cool, so that's the noise. Then you have this dub echo, which pretty much is gonna create kind of like an echo thing on this. And then you have this filter sweep that is gonna sweep through your frequencies, kind of similar to a filter, but a little different, you know. Filter is really handy for mixing. And yeah, once you have engaged those and you twist this knob, it's gonna act on any channel that you apply some twisting of the knob. So then you have the EQ, which is a regular 3-band EQ, except that on these new Pioneer mixers, you have the option of making it an isolator or a regular EQ, which basically means that it's gonna cut off the, for example, on the low frequency. If I set it up on EQ and I put on a section here of the track that I have some bass, so we have a little bit of bass in that part, and if I cut the lows, it's just lowering by 26 dBs. But if I put it on an isolator, it's gonna cut by infinity, so it's gonna be a more intense cut of the lows. So pretty handy thing to know. Then after that, I think it's worth coming to the effects here, which you have a bunch of effects to pick from: delay, echo, ping pong, spiral, reverb, trance, which I'm gonna go through kind of all of them and how they work. So pretty much it's very important. The first thing that I need to mention in this is that it's pretty important to have your effects in time with the tempo of your track. So I'm gonna switch the pitch range here to ±10, which is the one that I like to work with. It's really important that you apply effects in time. I see a lot of people applying their effects not in time, and it sounds really messy. So you can see that our track is at 127 BPM, and our mixer is marking that the tempo of our effects is at 120. So it's not gonna match. The effects are gonna sound out of time. So for example, if I start applying some delay on this, on channel 3, or on the master, you can see that it's sounding off time. And now it has a this has it calculates once you start playing the track, it's gonna calculate at what BPM you are, but it doesn't always do it like quite accurately. So another nice tip to know about this is that you can press this auto tap button at the same time with the tap button, or the other way around. Yeah, first press the tap button and then the auto tap, and then you can see the decimal points. So you can see that is 0.127, but it's 127.1. So if I press the tap and the auto tap and I use this timing knob, I can adjust by decimals, which is pretty handy to know. Now it's at 127.0, the same as the track, so now the effects are gonna be perfectly in time. The other thing is that these effects, they come with you can isolate frequencies from the effects, so pretty much it's gonna let you see. Now I'm just cutting, not applying it to the lows. It's gonna be really messy if I apply it to the lows, as you can see. In a club, this is a disaster, you know, if you apply delay on the lows. If I have the lows raised up and I start applying delay, it's just gonna, it might blow up a sound system or something. So it's really nice that they've added these you know, you can turn off the frequencies that you don't want to affect with your effects. So that's pretty cool. So I'm gonna go through the effects a little bit and show what they do. Pretty much you have this delay, which is pretty self-explanatory, you know, it just delays one beat, right? And then there's this echo, which actually has a tail, it leaves a tail behind. So if I start playing the track and I bring the fader down, it's gonna leave a tail. So the more level you apply to that, the more tail is gonna leave, the more intense of the effect. So that's the echo. The ping pong is gonna be an echo as well, but it's gonna act in stereo. It's gonna bounce from left and right to the speakers. So if I apply, you can see it's very similar to the echo, but it's just echoing from left to right. Then you have this really cool spiral thing. It can get pretty intense. And if we put it in a nice timing here, and if I change the time now, I'll do this crazy sound. I increase the sound now. To me, it sounds kind of like a tape delay. So you can see I can go again fast. So it's pretty much like a tape delay to me, but they call it a spiral here. Then we have the reverb, which is basically a reverb. You can make a really tight reverb. Or like a really long reverb. Alright. Now you have this trance, which pretty much chops up the sound. So I can demonstrate that with the noise. So let's apply effects only to channel 1 in the mixer. So I'm gonna put some noise here, increase the intensity, so you can see the noise coming in. And now if I turn on this trance, pretty cool. Then you have a flanger, which is a classic DJ effect. It's just gonna create some flanging. So if I play on the track, number 3. So you decide the time here, or you can do it manually here with the timing knob. So here we have the flanger. Then we have this pitch, which is pretty much gonna pitch your track up or down. So I guess you can use it like on some vocals if you want to make your vocals like really deep. You have some female a cappella playing and you want to make it really deep. I guess you can use that as an effect. Then we have the roll, which is pretty cool. It just acts like as a beat repeats. So and if I put it all the way on wet in here, it's just gonna, so I can use it before a break. So stuff like that you can do. And you can also do okay, so that's what the roll does. And then there's this vinyl break, which is just gonna kind of do what you do with this knob here of the CDJ, right? So it kind of like slows down the audio. And then you have these helix effects, which, if I'm not mistaken, it's kind of like the spiral. Yeah, so it's kind of like another type of delay, I guess. Right. So those are the effects. Always, use your effects with caution. Don't over affect your music. I think it makes it sound oversaturated. You kind of kill the song. That's my opinion. And it might sound to some people even a little cheesy. So be strategic with your effects and don't overkill. Now I'm gonna move on to show you a few tricks that you can do with these effects. So one of the coolest things, is the one with the drum roll. Is obviously I have this other CDJ here, and I can select a track from here, and I can make a little bit of a mix, right? So I can let's pick another track here. So we have that track going right there. And you can see it's a 125, we'll put this on 125. These days you don't even need to know how to beat match, which I think everyone should learn how to beat match, because you never know when the BPM might be wrong. But still, those are the conveniences of technology. Now we can, if they're both analyzed by record blocks, we can be pretty sure that they're gonna be at the same tempo. Now, if I go on this track, I'm gonna stop this for a second. You can see this is a perfect example. I'm gonna demonstrate something on the CDJ. The track doesn't start with a kick drum. So you might want to create another cue point instead of the auto cue that it created. So to do that, we will roll over to the part that we want to start, to that kick drum, and set the cue. Right? So now, if we have this track mixing here, I'm gonna cut the lows here, and I'm gonna start mixing this track in here. I'm gonna go a little bit to the end. So let's go a little bit to the end. So And this I set a cue point on a clap, so I'm gonna start my clap. Also be sure to mix in phrases, not only in bars. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2. Alright, so I'm gonna start bringing this in. Right. So you have both tracks mixing. Now I can bring this track down. I'm gonna cut the lows with the filter. Always work in time with the music. Alright. So you got that track, both tracks going right now. This one is finishing and this one is starting. Cool. So we're on another track. I can stop the CDJ. Well, let's say the CDJ breaks or something, and we have only one CDJ. But you can actually mix with one CDJ because you have the roll effect here, which is pretty cool. And what I'm gonna do first is again, the track is playing at 125. I'm gonna make sure that I'm at 125.0. So press the tab, move it to 125, and then adjust the decimals as well. It's at 125.0 right now. It has to be exactly in time. And as you can see on the roll, if I do it just normally, if I apply to channel 1, or channel 2 where we are, it has 1/8 of a note, 16ths, a quarter note, half note, 1, right? And you can go up to 8 beats, so which is pretty much creating like a 2-bar loop, right? And now what we could do is actually bring that signal into another channel. So if I move that to channel 1, now the track is playing here, right? And we can kind of like bring this one in slowly. So you can see that now we have something on channel 1, but it's actually the roll playing. And now I can stop the CDJ, right? And pick another track. And go to 125. Now I can start mixing in. So you can loop with the mixer pretty much and transfer it to another channel. Now I can filter the signal as well. And there you go. We just created a mix with only one CDJ. So that's one of the cool tricks that you can do with the mixer. So bring it slowly down. And we're already on the other track. Be aware that when I did that, I had all the bands engaged, low, mids, and highs, because if not, it would just be you would be, if I bring that roll back here, Well, you can even EQ with that now. But the sample that it would be collecting would only contain the mids and the highs if I had the lows cut. So to be able to do that trick, make sure that they're all engaged. And then I can also kill it like that, you know? So that's one of the other things, the timing mode when you're on, I'm gonna switch it back to channel 2. You can do effects like again, you know, always when you apply effects, make sure you apply them in time. You can always use the echo to, again, I'm gonna cut the lows. And we have a drop coming in. So you can do the things. The echo leaves a tail and it allows you to bring it back in really quickly. Now, to finalize this tutorial, another quick little tip that you can do involves the looping part. And this is what I was going to mention, that sometimes it's worth having it in the quantizing off for the looping, because I don't think I have any acapellas on these CDJs, but I'm going to try to do it with a section that doesn't have a beat. So I'm gonna select a part of the track where I don't have too much beats going on. And now I'm just gonna switch, bring this fader down to show you what I'm gonna do. So we have this breakdown around here. So you can do really, when you're in quantize, if I do, it's gonna automatically make a 1-beat loop, right? And but if I have it off quantize, I can do stuff like that, where it's just like looping constantly. And now what you can do is use this. I can put it in wide. You can also turn the out to adjust the loop, and you can make this even shorter or make it longer. Now on an acapella, this is really cool when you do it. Unfortunately, I don't have any acapellas on these USBs. But why would you do something like this? Well, if I have the other track here, I can use this to add like a little bit of tension if I cut all the lows. On an acapella, it works better than this sound that I'm looping. But pretty much I can do that. And let's say we're on the break. I'm gonna take it back to the break here. So this breakdown here. So we can gently bring this in. And since we're in wide mode, I can start speeding this up. Apply some delay to it. So you can kind of use the CDJ almost like as a synth. And if I make this loop really short, you're gonna almost generate like a tone. So you could apply less delay. So you can do crazy stuff like that. Which, you know, again, use with caution, don't overdo it. It's something that should be done at special moments, because if you start overdoing it, what's the point of playing music, right? I mean, you're all killing the music. But there's actually some people, this guy called, I'm gonna stop the music for a second. This guy called DJ, what's his name? I forgot his name, but he's one of the old school DJs, amazing DJ. He can actually play the CDJ kind of like as an instrument. So he uses that feature a lot. So it's a pity I can't remember his name. I love how he DJs and his music. So those are a few of the tricks that you can do on CDJs, and a few of the things that you need to be aware when you're playing with this equipment. Finally, before I forget, I want to mention that these mixers, they have the option of various types of inputs. So you can use them as digital inputs, like connecting a USB. So you can have something like Ableton connected to the mixer, and you can assign a channel in Ableton to come out on a channel of the mixer. You can have line inputs, which are for the CDJs. You can have phono inputs for turntables, and then you can use the channels also as returns for your auxiliaries, as an auxiliary return, which is pretty cool. Because you have send and returns from this input, so you can connect it to an external effects unit, or like something like an RMX 1000, which is the kind of like the modern effects player from Pioneer. And you can also connect it, the send and return can be an app as well, so you can connect your iPad to here and apply some effects from the iPad, which is pretty wild, and have the send and returns come from the iPad. Then you have the level of you just engage the send and returns here. Now, right now I have nothing connected, so it doesn't let me turn it on, but you would control the level of the return right here, and you would apply it by turning this on, and then you can assign it even to a channel, which is pretty cool. And then you have the mic section, which you can assign it to talk over, so pretty much it will kind of like bring the music down as you talk, or you can just have it on, and it will just won't lower the music as you speak, if you're one of those DJs that uses the mic. And then those are pretty much the most important functions that I wanted to go over in this quick review and tutorial about the CDJs and the mixer from Pioneer. I hope you find it useful, and have fun and practice. Thank you guys for watching this review on Pioneer equipment, CDJs and mixer. We hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys liked it, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel down below. I'm also leaving the link to our website here in case you are in Miami and you need some help with music production, DJing, recording, studio time, and any other thing related to audio, really. So this is Ricardo Lund, and I'll see you guys next time.